So when my dad passed on, there's all this stuff that is extremely valuable. You know, people they think it's papers, but I've been delving in them.
You've been looking through, huh?
There's a lot of stuff.
Wow.
But you know, I still have my P7 stuff too. I don't throw stuff away. Even my phone boxes, I have phone boxes, watch boxes. I just feel that maybe
But
one
Shaka,
day,
where do you keep these
maybe one
things?
day I'll need it. So I keep everything. My room is
Yeah.
like my room. My room's just a bed. Everything is cassettes. It's like I'm very comfortable with a bed.
I can't even imagine it.
It's
Boxes from watches? What
Oh,
are you
yeah.
going to do with them?
I might need
let
it.
me ask you. What are you going to do with it?
like when I'm going to give out a watch,
Uh-huh.
and I put it in the box and give it to somebody.
But how often do you do that?
A lot. I can't have more than, even shoes, I keep boxes sometimes. I can't have more than 7 pairs of shoes.
Okay.
I have a rack that only takes 7. So if there's an 8th pair, I give out 7 and put in 8.
Or they don't just sit in the box?
Yeah, so I just give out shoes. I can't, I mean, how many watches can you wear? So I give out a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I put a limit on a lot of things.
Why is that?
Because
Is it like a value system or?
yes, I mean, how many shoes can I wear really?
No, there are people who are comfortable with 50, 70 pairs.
Yeah, I think my dad is a problem also, because even him used to repair shoes, you know. Go and repair that shoe.
Mm-hmm.
He used to sew his own shirts, you know, collar, and not buy a new one.
Really?
Fix it. He used to fix his umbrella, not buy a new one and sew with them. Don't throw anything away.
That is dedication.
Yeah.
You were very close, actually. Were you?
Yeah, but our closeness is funny. It was a spiritual thing, I think. I mean, we're not like sitting and talking, like, you know. Maybe very later, maybe his last 12 years, maybe there, but not even that much. Because, you know, boarding school does that to you, you know.
True.
So even the people I went to school with, they are not very close-knit families. Because that was totally taken away.
Yeah. And that bond is formed
Yeah.
when you're much younger.
Your bond is with your friends, pretty much. You know, yeah.
Okay. When he passed away, that's what, 2 years now?
Yeah.
It's 2 years. I've always wondered, because of your faith, you are Rastafari. Are you?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Oh, not anymore?
No. Rastafari, it was the seed that led me to where I needed to go.
Okay. Maybe
And-
you can explain it, because a lot of people don't really
Okay.
understand. They think it is having dreadlocks and the
So,
herb maybe.
The first Rastas didn't even have locks. They had afros like Black Panthers.
Ah.
And they are well-schooled people too. I mean, Marcus Garvey is the one who kind of started, you know, Leonard Howell and all these guys. So it was a need for someone to know where they come from. That was the first, that hunger. You guys, we're here 400 years. What are we doing here? Where do we come from? Okay, now if we find ourselves here, how do we excel? I mean, Italians are excelling, Irish, Jews, you know, in America, for instance. Where are we? So that was the need. We need to identify with the homeland.
Okay.
We need to go back to our roots and culture. So that whole thing started in Jamaica, Haiti, you know? So the Rasta thing came out of the coronation of Selassie in 1930 or something like that.
Yeah.
So they found a rallying point. Okay? There's a king in Africa. Selassie wasn't the first emperor. You know, there are other emperors before him.
Yes, before him.
But he had that thing of the Pan-African ideal. But Pan-Africanism, as we know, it really starts with Marcus Garvey and Dubois and all those guys. And they were not on the continent.
Okay.
So when the Nkurumas went to study in America and whatever, that's where their seed came from there, from the civil rights movement and all these things. They said, you know what? Africa has to unite. So Selassie gave them the springboard. Let's start the OAU. Or you know, Rastas, you know, not Rastas. Africans who want to come back from West Indies, I've given you land. Come back and settle. So they found a rallying call. Let's call it rally around the flag.
Okay.
Something that unites all those who don't know where they came from. Because they didn't know. After 400 years, you don't know whether you came from Hausa, Igbo, you know, you don't know. They just lumped people up. So that need for an identity created the movement, the Back to Africa movement.
So
you know?
would you, because people now say it's a religion almost.
That's what, basically it became what it was not supposed to be. It became what it was actually fighting.
Ah.
Because originally Rastafarianism, the Nyayabingi as they are called, it was the study of going back to roots and culture, of where you come from. We are in the West because we were forced to come here, but we have somewhere we come from.
Yeah.
So they started that. So now the Rastafarian Nyayabingi way of living became a way of life.
Yeah.
Okay? So they created their own language that didn't exist. I and I. Ital, Iwa. You know, words like that. Ital food. No salt. They just boil the food. Vegetarian lifestyle.
Yes.
All those things. It's called Ital living. That was not part of a religion. It was part of a way of life in the hills.
Okay.
Now, somebody went to the Bible and talked about the crowning of a king when Marcus Garvey talked about it. The King of Kings, Lords of Lords, conquering land of the tribe of Judah. That's how he was crowned, by the way, in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Our nations bow before him. And so the guy said, you know what? This is the second coming of Christ. That's where it started.
Okay.
The Nyayabingi said, we see him for what he is, you know. But if you're saying he created the world and all that, that's not where we're saying it. We are saying he's our leader. But now the Rasta started getting
The divide.
like Christianity has 40,000 denominations, 40,000. So now the Rasta started the same issue.
Yeah.
So the Rasta had 12 tribes. They believe they are the 12 tribes of Israel. Then you had the Ethiopian World Federation. You had the Nyayabingi. You had the Bobo Shanti, you know. So now they started getting, everybody had a thought process.
Okay.
Bible, basically they became exactly what they were fighting.
So did
Dogma.
Did you like bury yourself in it to
Yes.
study about it?
Oh yes, I did.
How long were you?
That's 94, you know. Because Pan-African movement, when it started here, by then we were into the Rasta doctrine. And Dr. Tajuddin, the late, who used to be the head of the Pan-African movement, he's the one who groomed most of us and brought us into that movement, 94. So he gave us books, and there was a book called Rasta and Resistance by Horace Campbell. So that book kind of explained the origin of Rasta and what they wanted it to be and where it is now, or where it has ended up. You see?
Yeah.
So now when reggae now came in, another part was added, lifestyle now. You know? So anybody can be a Rasta.
Yeah.
You don't have to dread to be a Rasta. As long as you were, you know, all those things. It now became
This bigger thing.
it became something that they couldn't control. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what was the original ideal of the Rasta? It was back to Africa. We were brought as slaves to go back to Africa. Go back to your roots and culture. But what are your roots and culture? If you're a Jamaican, where do you start? What is your clan?
You have to start somewhere.
Where did you come from?
Yeah.
They have no clue. So I realized that what they were aiming for is what we have here already, because I used to go to Kingston a lot.
Yeah.
I used to go to the hills and meet the spiritual ladies, and they used to tell me stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, actually you're yearning for what I have. I know where I come from.
Sense of
Exactly where I come from.
So
I
for
can't
you,
change
was
it.
that a wake-up call?
Oh,
that
yeah, it was.
You come back home, you
Yeah.
do have a home, you do have a sense of belonging.
You have a home, you have a clan, on both sides. You know your mother comes from and who gave birth to who, up to the beginning. You know what I'm saying? They can't do that. They took that away from them. So that hole is causing a lot of issues, even in America.
Yeah, right up, up to now.
So Rasta, now what Rasta wanted to be legit. Also us now, when they call deacons to sit or whatever, also us we want to be called. Like you have Catholics, you have what? We also Rasta. We believe. And that wasn't for me. Because for me, I left religion for those reasons.
Yeah.
That spirituality cannot be bottled.
Yes.
You cannot put it in a glass. It is fluid.
And it's different for everyone.
It's different for everyone because everybody has a spirit. You cannot collect people in one thing and say, hey, this is it. you know. So Rasta led me to the roots, being a rootsman. So
Okay.
that's why I treasure Rastafarianism a lot. Because without going to Jamaica, it is called full circle. I had to leave the continent to go to Jamaica to see how valuable what we
Home
have
was.
here. Yes, you know, because they take you to, just because you're from here, they think, wow, you know, you're very lucky.
Yeah.
So that whole thing of bringing artists here, and I made sure I took them to places, taught them, you know, and I could tell tears flowing, carrying soil and water back. You know, I was thinking, but this is the soil we work on every day, but we don't know the value
Yeah.
of, you know, people who were taken away, and they're nearly 600 years away. You know,
Now I see
you know
what
what
you
it
mean,
means.
that we don't value anything. Yeah.
You know what it means not to know anything. You know your dad and your mom and your granny. That's it. But even they can't tell you any story. They don't remember. They came as kids. When they, you know, because only young men were put on the ship.
Yeah.
The languages disappeared.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cromanti remained in Jamaica. It's like Ghanaian from Ghana. But they say, I think it's a small village. I think there are 2 people left who can speak Cromanti. Yeah, generations have died.
Wow.
But people don't know the value of roots. I'll give you an example. If you go to the police station when your phone is lost, what do they ask you for?
What did they ask you for? Your ID? What did they ask you for?
Your SIM card is nothing.
Okay.
Because the SIM card, anybody can change the SIM card. The IMEI of the phone, okay? If it is a car, the car chassis number. Number plate, I can take that number plate of that car and put it on another car.
Yes, yes.
But the chassis you can't change. Even when you're buying parts from abroad, they say, how can I know it's this model? All that you've told me. What is the chassis number of that car?
Yeah.
What they do is to put in the system, it will tell them where the car was made, what year, and what parts.
So trace it right back to its origin. Yeah.
Every phone you see has a different IMEI.
Okay.
You can't change it. People are trying, you know, they block this. It's the same as our names. They give you a name, straight away you know where the person comes from. Right back, you know.
And that's why our parents' generation, they'll say, who are your parents? Where are they from? And then...
You know why they used to say that? You know, you don't marry anyhow. You know? But now you say, oh, my name is Chilabo. Huh? Okay, it means gift. But what is that? The names they're giving out now are like the new smartphones. Smartphones have no character. You know? What we used to have is the old phones. You put a phone, that's a 6110, 3110, that's a 7110, that's a Sony Ericsson 688. You could tell from the distance. Now you put
but
smartphones.
Now you put them there.
Put
smartphones. What phone is that? Yeah,
that's what Africans have become. We are like smartphones of this, you know, this generation. You can't tell who is who, what is what. I'm Chilabo. The whole country, everybody is Chilabo. Oh, because they are Christians. Oh, they have those names, man. I don't know what they use, you know. But that's not your IMEI. Who are you? You know, so traveling, I learned a lot of things, because even at the airport in England or wherever, you find a guy, if somebody says they are Hiroshiro Takami, no questions, it's Japanese. Then you go there and say, I'm John Paul Kagua. So the Indians, the Sikh, they usually hire Indians, I don't know why. Who look, you know, they look
confused.
And well, the Japanese, they just look and stamp. When John Paul, what's your name? They ask again, John Paul. What is that? You know, so we lost all that. So Rastafarianism led me to where I have to be. Now it's my job to take Rastafarians where they have to be.
You said something that someone groomed you, that there were a group of you who were groomed.
Yes.
At the time. So what was the turning point for you when you're like, okay, this is actually not what I want to be? Because you said in many ways it started to resemble religion for you. What was the turning point where you're like, no?
After the Rasta? After the Rasta, it was 2000, maybe 3. I think I was in England at the time. But by then I was learning a lot of things, jazz, this, that. But not just the music per se, but to understand the ear, to have that ear. But when I learned about all those artists, even the blues and how the reggae comes from blues, soul R&B, jazz, all that come from the blues, you know.
Yeah.
But what was their driving force? Same thing. They were yearning. And when you listen to blues, you're listening to great music from West Africa. It's the same. You're listening to Kadonkam. Blues is that. So the connection is already there. The ear, to have that ear. But when I learned about all those artists, even the blues and how the blues, the reggae comes from blues, solar R&B, jazz, all that come from the blues,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
But what was their driving force? Same thing. They were yearning. And when you listen to blues, you're listening to great music from West Africa. It's the same. You're listening to Kadonkam. Blues is that. So the connection is already there. So that's why I was thinking, okay, Rasta, what the Rastafari says is that King of Kings, okay, King of Ethiopia. But he was the King of Kings of the king, because Ethiopia didn't have one. Regions had their own rulers. Say, basically his group dominated all the other tribes. That's the problems they're having in Ethiopia now.
Yeah.
So it was King of Kings there. But I have my own king here, you know. If I go to Bunyoro, they will have a king there. If I have a Mukama there, I have Kabaka here, I have, so what are you talking about?
So you started questioning
It was
all
the
that.
same thing of Christianity that they went to. They were borrowing too much from there.
Yeah.
Okay? So that was the turning point. I said, okay, so most of our group, the 94 group, most of us tend to roots. You know, Jaja Kalanda, Munyenye, Jingo Kasuja, all these guys, if you notice, they turn to roots. The Rasta led them to roots. Because if you say you're the King of Kings, what do I do with mine? Who's not even called king? Mine is the Kabaka.
Yes.
There's no other Kabaka on the planet.
Where does he fit?
There's only one Kabaka on earth. There's only one Omukaba, you know, it's like that. There was the one Chabazinga. So what do you do? So that what? You're the... And they will tell you they have their King of Kings who in the spirit world who rules them. So where do I end? We're not Ethiopians. Not all of us are Ethiopian. So the Ethiopians can, you know, so you can't say, oh, now, that's where they're getting a problem. You go to a reggae show in Spain, Rotterdam, and they are white Rastas, you know. Full, Spanish, French, what, dreads, you know, Rasta, you know, Rastafari. And what is Rastafari? You know, it's like masochism. I mean, it's narcissism even.
Yeah.
Because if Rasta is fighting the injustice against the people, and then now it's been taken over by the people you're fighting, who took your ideology. So if you go there and say, so now the Rasta is in confusion.
Yeah.
They say, no, everybody can be a Rasta. It's one love and fine. Then, okay, fine. It's now Christianity or Islam. Anybody, as long as you say whatever sentence, you become a Muslim. Thank you very much. But I cannot say I'm a Mamba from Mamba. I can't. Where do I start? Say, you're a Mamba? Okay, how? But my dad is from Mutima. You don't just choose and wake up and say, oh, now we are all from Mamba. We have a coding system. You know what I'm saying? We have a coding system that has to be followed, that we found here, you know. So Rasta taught me that. Rasta fighting for roots and culture. So what are your roots and culture? You don't know your roots and culture, you know Selassie and Menelik.
You need to come back and know that.
Don't you have your own leaders here? You know, so my turning point was about 2004. That's when I started doing journeys, you know, and speaking to elders and finding out, you know. There are so many people, well, they're dying out, you know, but it's a pity. And
so how did you end up in the UK and in England?
I used to go a lot to the UK in the 90s, you know.
Was it because of the shows?
Yeah,
and
the
organizing?
shows, you know, getting recording artists and, you know, because Jamaica away from Jamaica is England, maybe Miami also, but in Europe. So you know, so I used to go in and out of England a lot.
But did you stay there for any
Oh
extended
yes, I
period of time?
stayed for about 2-3 years, maybe. 2000 to about 2003-4. But
Was
even
that,
then,
was that to work? Was that for your
Yeah.
music? Or?
I took time off, but I was still doing music. I wrote so many songs, recorded. That's when I started playing the bass. Because before I had my bass player, but I used to write my songs based on bass line. So Mwanga used to play the bass for me. So while there, I thought myself,
You were there. He's not. He's here.
yeah. So I got a 4-string, started playing, taught myself, pulled out all my reggae CDs and started playing along. So I taught myself. Then that's when it really helped me that time to study jazz and blues and music in general. What made
So were you doing this like informally, or did you?
informally, who taught Miles Davis, or what made him what he is? So Ray Charles. So I studied the journeys of all those people. I studied all that. I invested a lot in the head about that because I need to know where they come from to become what they become and why they passed on and the mistakes they made, what led them to doing the mistakes, all that stuff. So music is 360 for me. I have to know everything.
And it's in every part of your life.
Yes.
It influences everything in your life.
yes. The music is everything.
Okay. Because I read an interview, I think you did about 10 years ago, and you were talking about commercial success.
Yes.
And how that has never been a factor that you've ever really considered.
If I
Only
had, I wouldn't
because-
be doing music. There's no way you can have commercial success in music and stay doing music. It's difficult. There are not many people that, you tell me who has.
Okay.
Some other factors come and eat away. Once the spirit knows you're being distracted, it removes you. It's so like Bob Marley, I think, he used to look after 6,000 people every week. He used to give away everything. There's a time I was staying in the studio without a bed, yet the girlfriends had houses, So he was that kind of man. He just gave away everything.
So that he could be pure for his music.
You know what I'm saying? So he gave away everything. So it's big. So not away from the music, Bob the man had to do that. I've been lucky to speak to some of the people who are close to him, and they can't say anything about the guy. They say there's no chance of ever being anybody like that, But not just him. There are so many. Willie Dixon, he's never built a house. He bought a bus. He lives on his tour bus, I think, for 45 years or something. He's just playing music like a hermit, But there are those who got success. Look at all these Elton Johns and and all the issues they get into.
Yeah.
Because then so much happens, you become, the fame comes in, the money starts, your head gets messed up. Already they are talented in the head, that's already another problem. And then all these things start coming in. What happens? Depression, addiction,
Have you ever struggled
So you're
with any of
removed.
that?
So you're removed from the system. Prince, Whitney, MJ, the system removes you. Say, let's preserve you.
Wow, when you put it quite like that,
See?
that's scary.
I can go on and on. Kurt Cobain?
Have you ever struggled
Nah.
with depression or?
Nah, depression, yeah. A lot. But that was mainly because you're thinking of commercial. If you're doing all these shows and you're not making money and you're losing money every time, so that depression, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Because
in the stories you're sharing, you did shows where you were in debt.
I've always been doing shows. I've never made money in a show for 30 years.
Are
I
you
think the other time
serious?
we made money was with Charles, my elder, in '96. But even to this day, he says, I don't know what you're made of, me. And it's just a show. You know what I'm saying? People do bigger things. How about brain surgery?
So what is your motivation? Is it to share the music with people, to bring people together? What is your motivation?
What is the motivation of...
apart from your love.
What is the motivation of an addict? An addict, or the person who gambles in the casino and has lost everything. What is their motivation?
What you feel, the
What
thrill
do you
that comes
see?
with it.
Yeah, you see, but that's negative. Being obsessed negatively. But what do you think drives somebody to continue doing that? You know what I'm saying? There's a spirit for everything. In case you didn't know.
Okay.
Do you think people choose to be prostitutes?
Well, some people don't have a choice.
You think so?
Yeah. That's a dangerous statement that you're heading to right there. I mean, I'm not saying each and every
the person
one.
who wakes up in the morning,
Yeah.
the woman
Yeah.
who's pregnant, gives birth in the morning, and is in the garden digging in the afternoon. What are they doing? What do you think their choice is?
To work.
They gave birth in the morning. Women in the village find that normal. Birth in the morning, you are digging in the afternoon to feed your family. That's it. It's been like that for thousands of years. Do you ever drive in this city at night? I used to do it a lot. Because I'm nocturnal. I sleep late. You find women sweeping dangerous areas.
Yeah.
Why aren't they prostitutes? So I'm telling you, there's a spirit for everything. A good one and a bad one. So that's why I don't judge people. Sometimes they just don't know. So mine is music. You go into a pitfall, they make sure they make a way for you. Okay, the pitfall will make this other 30 years. There's no other promoter I know has done music for 30 years.
Most people give up at some point. Yeah.
Because you're being different for the wrong reason. If you think you want to make money, you're in problems. You're in problems. And it's funny, a lot of people around music make money. Music makes money.
It does?
Yes. A lot of money.
So how is it you have never made money?
That's what I'm trying to explain. The airline that brings the artists here makes money. The radio stations make money. The breweries, the soda companies, printers, transport companies, hotels. Do you think they're not making money from shows? Everybody around makes money. Even some of the businessmen who invest make money. How about the loans that people, the people lending money to all these people putting up shows? Do you think they don't make money? So somebody is making money.
But not the promoter.
Because now, like me, the chances are if you did make that money, you'd leave your calling. You'd be too caught up with money. Money comes with its own issues. Wealth comes with its issues. I wouldn't be doing music for 30 years. I would just be thinking money, and doing, stuff.
Okay.
It's the same thing with monks. Monks in the hills, they're celibate. Why? It is a given. Once you get married or once you get into a relationship, then your mind is split. You have to take care of your family, your children. So you can't focus on what you are meant to do in the as a monk. So monks are chosen. Families dedicate. They say, "Oh, my child will be a monk," and just live the spiritual whatever. That's it. If you want to get married, then it's okay, fine. They give you a blessing. You're not a monk anymore. You can't go back because you can't serve two masters. It's impossible.
So that is what music is for you?
Yes.
So does that mean you've never been like in a relationship
I
serious?
have, but I'm just saying that when it comes to the dedication to something, it can eat you up. It can eat you alive. You know what I'm saying? It can just take you over. What it means now that you need to find that other person who is in the same mindset, and they're there. I've met some in Jamaica, the wife, and they're Tabaruka and all these guys. Ibu, my friend, third world, they're married, but they still, but they met
someone
soulmates.
Who's on the same wavelength.
Oh yeah, not even musicians. They're doing other things, teachers, what.
But you have to understand that.
So the system finds, and they've been married for 30 years, 40. The system finds Samuel Jackson, Denzel. Some people are lucky, but many aren't. Thousands aren't.
Yeah.
All these lions and what they'll tell you the story. They are not. They have to choose one of the two.
Yeah.
So music, even when you don't want, music means a lot of things to a lot of people. That's why I tell people to always teach their children music. They want them to do good in school, teach them music.
Well, it's the greatest form of expression, really.
Not just that. It's one of the only elements on the planet where both sides of the brain work at the same time.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Musician, when they are reading, one hand is doing something else, this hand is doing something else, this leg is doing something else, this is doing something else, and you're keeping time, tempo. So the brain is working. So when the kid learns piano at a young age, or guitar, or flute, when they come to do maths and all these things, it's a joke. That's why Chinese kids, if you go to all Chinese homes, we're in Australia with the Kagwas, every home, however poor, there's a piano.
They have a piano, or their kids are doing violin or something.
Yep.
Okay.
They can dump it after 10 years, but it will stick in there.